In this video, I will focus on the situation in the Central Eastern and Southeastern European region. Over the past decade, many universities in the region have made great progress in developing welcome services and professional capacities to support mobility of undergraduate students. Services to support international PhD students and academics coming for their midterm or long-term mobility have not developed at the same speed, not to the same extent. Since higher education institutions in the target region have growing ambitions to make their teaching and research more international, a need for a more strategic approach to enhancing institutional welcoming culture and further professionalization of services for this target group is inevitable. In 2021, we tried to map the current or recent situation regarding mobility of international PhD students, researchers and lecturers coming to one of 10 host countries located in Central Eastern and Southeastern Europe for a period more than 3 months. We covered countries such as Bulgaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Hungary, North Macedonia, Poland, Romania, Serbia, Slovakia and Slovenia. Our aim was to investigate the international academics' needs in terms of tailored assistance and their satisfaction with such services. We designed a survey and received responses from 640 international PhD students, researchers and lecturers from 89 countries hosted or employed by the institutions in the target regions. And we also conducted a series of 70 interviews with the responsible higher education managers and support staff. And here is what we found out. The survey data showed that the main pull factor for international PhD students and academics for choosing one of the target countries are opportunities for professional development. They stress out opportunities for collaboration, knowledge exchange, networking with local academic community. Mobility was seen as an opportunity to improve career prospects and employability, and also to experiment with new research methods and approaches. Academic training was another prominent draw, combined with access to the research facilities and room to experiment with new learning practices or teaching methods, which reflected mainly the interest of the large share of respondent doctoral students. Let's now have a closer look at what type of assistance they received. As we can see, over 70% of respondents reported that they have obtained some information guidance prior to their mobility, while 46% benefited from personalized assistance at this stage. However, nearly 40% of all respondents did not receive any guidance or support on site, and only 25% and 21% respectively received information guidance and personalized support upon departure. The most important areas that all groups of international academics required support were assistance in immigration matters, accommodation, and social and health insurance. A large majority of respondents received such core services prior to arrival and on-site and showed high level of satisfaction, except over accommodation where opinions were divided. The host institutions also reported to have paid most attention to these areas by streamlining support processes primarily at central or faculty level. Support with professional or academic development, such as training in teaching and research, career advice, occupied the middle-ranking position. Although in the interviews we have carried out with the higher education managers and support staff members, such services were reported as common. However, many respondents viewed them as less so and also reported higher levels of dissatisfaction. This seems to be a potential gap in the original expectations of international academics and the realities. The information and support for other aspects, for instance, national work regulation, pension plans, travel, family matters were seen as less important and were indeed less common and in many cases delivered at the department or even supervisor level, despite the fact that it required significant staff time and technical knowledge. These areas also showed a higher level of dissatisfaction at all mobility stages. When we look at the support received at different mobility stages, prior to mobility, during the mobility, and upon departure, it is obvious that a large amount of the support at different levels of mobility had been delivered at host institution department level, typically provided by academic colleagues or even by the supervisor, as we can see in the yellow and reddish colors. This was usually the case especially during mobility and upon departure stages, which often led to many complications that could have been avoided if had been tackled by the support staff with respective expertise. In short, it can be said that the more senior the international academic, the more tailored but often less professionalized service they were likely to get, and required assistance was particularly delivered at the department level, which was only possible due to relatively low numbers of international researchers and lecturers at the more advanced career stages. Support for international PhD students, whose numbers recently expanded at many of the region's institutions, was more streamlined, but with less attention paid to their specific needs and personal situations. When it comes to the visibility of work and study opportunities in the target countries, bottom-up sources of spreading information prevail. 37% survey respondents learned about their mobility opportunities through their own professional networks and 19% from their current employer or host institution. As we could see, such informal channels have an outstanding role, and it is evident that the academic satisfaction with the host country and institution is a key element of the country's future attractiveness to global talent, as the recommendations are mostly spread by word of mouth. The report also comes with the recommendations for the institutions and national policymakers. And what are the recommendations for the institutions? First of all, the most important is institutions' commitment to attracting and supporting international academics in the longer term. This should be supported by a differentiated strategic plan, which means, among others, defining institutions' priorities, setting the goals, including recognizing the importance of support services, and allocating adequate financial and human resources. To support higher education institutions in their commitment, it helps a lot if also national internationalization strategies pay due attention to support services. Next, it is developing required services and assistance at all mobility stages. And last but not least, focus on inclusivity, by which we mean developing customized approaches reflecting different needs of different types of academics. This could not be achieved without effective collaborations, whether with internal actors or external partners. It is crucial to start raising overall awareness of the benefits of working with international staff across the institution and creating respective concrete opportunities for doing so. And naturally, collaborations with external partners create synergies that would not only fast forward the procedures for internationals, but also share and save both financial and human resources, achieve critical mass, and ensure knowledge sharing. In other words, they could ease our own workload. Needless to say, those partnerships should be sustainable and, if possible, even formalized, since those based only on individual contacts or links might be easily gone when a respective person or persons leave their job. And finally, without doubt, there is a need to streamline and further professionalize support for international academics in both the core and more advanced services such as professional support, national labor regulations, language support, family matters, and others. By formalizing responsibilities and allocating adequate staff and other resources for clearly defined purposes. Administrative guidelines facilitating the international academics' professional and personal experiences need to be incorporated in higher education institutions' operational standards and procedures. If you like to learn further details on the study, you will find the full report on the Univalis project website, and I will put the link to the report below this video. The second target group of our study were higher education managers and support staff members with whom we conducted 70 interviews, as I already mentioned before. Their demands for further professional development were mostly for transferable skills. For instance, intercultural communication, leadership, personal efficiency, as well as more technical knowledge of various issues, especially those currently given less priority, for instance, career guidance, family matters, mental health, and well-being. Reflecting upon those demands, our project team created a comprehensive training program for higher education managers and support staff members, consisting of 6 training modules. Apart from the module you are watching right now, these are also comprehensive approach to welcome services, digital welcome center, local partnerships, intercultural communication, global profile marketing, and visibility. All the materials and detailed manual for potential trainers can be found and downloaded from the Univalis project website, and you will find the link to the training module below the video. And another inspirational source for the best welcoming practices is our Univalis online app. It is a repository of 65 practices described as processes, including their setup and delivery phases, with over 150 good examples, as well as tips for most optimal collaborations with both internal actors and external partners. You can get there via the QR code on the slide or a link below the video. So please check those sources and watch our next video where I will talk about effective collaborations.